everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to see how to create pivot tables in MS Excel. On my screen I have some sales data. I have got fields like order date, region, representative name, items that were sold, number of units sold, cost of each item, and the total amount of sale that happened. Before I move on to discuss how to create a pivot table, I just want to brief you a little about this. Pivot table is a data analysis tool. It is used to represent data in a summarized form by extracting the significance from the large data set. I also got some data set here, so we are going to see how to create pivot table from this. Let us see some examples to understand this. To create a pivot table, the first thing that we need to do is we have to click somewhere inside our data. So I click at any of the random cell inside my table. Second step is I go to Insert tab, and under the Tables group, I'll find an option of Pivot Table. So I click here. The moment I clicked here, now two things happened. The first thing is that my data set got selected. My entire table, let me just move this dialog box a little here, and you can see that my table has got selected. You can see a green border around this. Second thing that happened is I got this dialog box. This is the Create Pivot Table dialog box. Now this section asks us two questions. First is about the source of data. On the sheet, this data which is selected is my source, and it is mentioned here. Second thing it asks me about is the location of the pivot table. If it is the existing worksheet, you have to choose the second option, that is existing worksheet. If you want to show your pivot table in a new worksheet, so just choose this option and get started. So I prefer to choose existing worksheet, and in the existing worksheet it asks me for the location, so I just choose one random location. Let me say J2. So I choose this cell and I click on OK. The moment I clicked on OK, I got a pivot table, but this has got no data right now. Now the best part about pivot table is that it is flexible. Unlike your traditional table in MS Excel, you can design this table the way you want. So let's take some questions and let's understand how to create it. Now I've got the data here. Now for example, if I would like to know that how many units of each items were sold by these representatives, I want to consider how many units of these items were sold by the representatives. So there are three things to consider. One is the representative, another is the item, and the third one is the units. Now on my right side, you can see I got all the fields that are in my table written here. I got some options below like filters, column, rows, and values. I'm going to just drag and drop the required fields into them to create my pivot table. Now for my first query to know about how many number of units of each items were sold by each sales representative, I will just drag representative name into rows. I'll drag items into rows because this is what I need. And the next thing I need is number of units. Now one thing to notice here is unit is a numerical value. So numerical value I will drag it to values. This is the table that I get. Now it says that Andrew has sold pencils, Gil has sold these many things, and Howard has sold these two things and these many units. You can change the design of your table as well. If you just want to move it this way, I just happen to exchange the position of item and representative. I just moved item upward. So I got the selection item wise. So binders are now sold by these people. Desks are sold by these three. Pens are sold by these, and pen sets are sold by these, and so on. This is the data I get. You can change the appearance of your table as well. Now let us just cross check one of the value. Now this says that Gil has sold binders, and 126 number of binders he sold. So let us just cross check it. I'll double click on this and I get a sheet. This is sheet 3 because sheet 2 I created and I deleted. So I am having sheet 3 now. So this is sheet 3, which shows me the item that was sold by Gil. That means the binder, and it gives me the complete detail as to on which date did he sold them, and the region in which he sold them, and the units as well. So here I wanted to cross check the number of units. It says 126, and in sheet 3 I get two data, so I just select the number of units here, and in the status bar you will see here sum amounts to 126. So this way we can cross check, and this is the value that I was getting in sheet 1 against his name. That means the data is correct. Now let's take some more examples. Now I want to know how much business is done by each of the sales representative. Means I'll consider representative and the total value. So let's create a pivot table. I'll just drag these items back. I'll drag the fields back and I have a blank pivot table. Now I want to consider two things. One is representative and other is the total amount of sale that they made. So I just will drag representative to rows and total to values. This is what I'm getting. It says that Andrew made a sale of 298.65, let's say dollars. Gil made a sale of $1749.87. So let us just cross check one of the value, any of the value you can cross check. I click here. This is the Gil's data. So on these dates, he sold these items and number of units are there. Cost per unit is also mentioned and the total number of sale that he made. So here in sheet 1, it was mentioned that he sold the items for total of 1749.87. Let's cross check. I'll select the total amount and this is the amount I get in the sum in the status bar. This is exactly the same number that I get here in sheet 1. Now, I'll take another example. I'm dragging them back. Okay, so let's now consider, like, suppose you want to know how many number of units of each items was sold in different regions. Now, we have to consider units, we have to consider items, and the region. Three things to be considered. So units, because they are numerical values, so I'll drag them straight away to values. And then I have items and regions. So let me just drag region here and let me drag item here. So this is how I get that in the central region I got these many items, and in east I got these many items. You can also, like I told you, change the way your data look. I don't want to repeat the items here. So what I'll do is I'll just drag items to columns. The moment I do it, the layout of my table changes. So I get all the items as the columns and the regions became my rows. Now in here you can see that there are two grand totals. One is a total for all the columns and the other one is the grand total for all the row values. Now in case I just want the grand total for all the items, means all my column values, I can choose to close the grand total for the rows. How to do that? I have to click on design. In the design tab you have an option of grand totals. So I click on grand totals and choose the option of on for columns only. So the moment I do this, the grand total for rows is gone. So I just have the total for all the column values. Next thing to notice here is instead of having items and regions written here, I'm getting column labels and row labels. This is because of the layout of this table. By default, the layout is the compact layout. You can change the layout. Again, you have to go to design tab and click on the report layout option. In the report layout, you have second option which says shows in outline form. So just click here and we get these proper names here. Instead of column header, I'm getting item and region the way I want it. So this was all about the pivot table. I hope you understood this, and please don't forget to share the feedback in the comment section. Kindly like and subscribe the channel as well, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.